What's going on, guys? My name is Talan. This is my buddy Jason, and welcome to another episode of Dad Debate. Today's episode, we got a couple controversial things that all dads and even parents kind of go through. So I'm just going to jump right into it, Jason, if you're ready. Are you ready?
Let's go.
All right. So one thing that we're dealing with personally at my house, and I know that tons of other dads are dealing with, is this idea of baby talk. Basically, what I'm kind of referring to for people out there that don't really know what I'm talking about is the idea where you, rather than say, "Hey, son, do you want a glass of water?" I might say, "Bronson, Wawa," right? So I kind of like paraphrase things. And then honestly, now he says, like, it's been a struggle for us to get him to say water because we've been calling it Wawa for so long. So the question is not that do you agree or disagree? This is because that wouldn't really work in this kind of circumstance, but this topic should be talked about is, do you or did you, between the ages of, let's say, 1.5 to 3, talk to your son or daughter in baby talk?
Yes, we both talked to our daughter, and more so we did talk to our daughter in baby talk when she was younger. But to your point, she would start to hook on to the words that were not, grammatically correct. So we started to shift when those things were happening. I mean, now we speak, it's a lot more with like excitement. We're very animated now versus like, utilizing just different terms to fulfill. I mean, because when they're young, they can't really understand anyways, and I mean, and people, again, I think it's a great topic because I don't know, people may disagree to the fact that like you should be speaking to them in, full sentences and the correct words so they obtain it. Because I know when they're 1 to 3, they're like sponges, they absorb everything. Mm-hmm. But it worked for us, and I think again it's just that connection, and it's like speaking to your dog. I mean, it's like, hey puppy, like you have like this voice with your dog, and
for sure.
I definitely. I do. I don't know if it's, it's not an agree or disagree. I mean, we did. And I mean, sometimes we'll do it here and there, but as we transition,
here's the question. Are you going to do it with when you have another child, or if you have another child one day, are you going to do it with them? Or are you going to kind of go, shoot, maybe I'm going to talk full sentences when they turn like 1 and they actually start speaking?
Bro, Delilah can already count to 20 in Spanish. So, I mean, I'm not like, I'm just like, whatever we've done and is work. Like, again, it's not like a thing that we planned, it's more of like, it's kind of circumstantial. And I think it's like in certain situations, you kind of have that moment, but I think it's fine. I mean, I really, again, I don't think when she's 5 or 6, I'm going to be talking to her like that, but I'd love to hear your opinion and your perspective on it. Cause it sounds like you guys may be still doing it to the point where
we still do it. I mean, honestly, so I have an interesting answer. Do I agree that you should do it? No, I don't think you should. I think with our next child, our daughter, I plan on not doing it, but
why is that?
Or at least trying my best. Cause like you said, like it almost becomes like it comes out in a voice. I don't just say, "Do you want some Wawa?" I'm like, "Bronson, you want some Wawa?" Or like whatever, like you just do like, you try to make it fun and interesting for your kid. Right. But I think that currently, my son's almost 3 years old, and, we just finally got him to say water versus Wawa. And, it was kind of a struggle. And I think to myself, well, maybe if I would have used the word water initially, he would have just said it wrong, but at least said it. Right. And I think parents use these abbreviations of words because you want to be able to communicate with your son or daughter so that they can not get frustrated and tell you what they want. Cause like, like how many times are you like, what do you want? And you hand them like a bottle of milk and they're like, no. And they're like, hand them a bottle of juice. And they're like, well, every kid says yes to juice, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like basically.
No, I definitely think it comes down to, it's not like, hey, I want my kids to learn these not inappropriate, but just not correct forms of words that we're saying. It's more of the communication. I mean, it's when they're 1.5, I mean, they can't speak. You're just trying to understand like, hey, are you hungry? Like, or do you want something to drink? Like, you tired? I mean, you're trying to do anything. And it's like, if there's
people, Jason, that like straight up, like they talk like full sentence, like pretty much when they turn like 1, like, so, this is just an interesting topic. I do it. I'm trying really hard not to. And to be honest, I don't try that hard because I probably only do it 10% of the time when my wife corrects me. But generally, I just say Wawa, Baba instead of milk.
Well, and on that, I think the big thing is like when Delilah says words incorrectly now, even though she's about to be 3, she'll be 3 this week. When she turns, just now she's at a place where she can actually communicate a lot more. So when she says something, we stop, we sit, we get at her level and we say, hey, this is how you say the word or different things, just so she says it correctly. So, for us, hey, look, for me, it's not too big of a deal for me. I think for you, it's obviously you guys are in a struggle. And again, as guys and girls develop completely differently. If I had a boy, it may be a totally different situation. So I think it's an interesting perspective here.
Yeah, I would say, yeah. So my answer is going to be that if the question was, if I rephrase the question from the beginning, which is, do you agree or disagree that you should talk to your child in baby talk? I would say that I disagree, although I do it. So we'll see how it goes on baby.
I'm indifferent. I'm indifferent. But let's go. That's so a good topic. I think it's important. But I have a question for you and something that I've found very, very beneficial. And I know it may be hard for individuals if you don't have, for me, having one kid, it's a lot easier when I ask this. But I wonder if I would be able to instill it moving forward with kids 2 and 3, but is actually having a special day a week with your kid. So every Sunday we literally have daughter daddy day, and I'm not just talking about it's because your wife's got to, your wife's at work or doing things yes, sure. But we're going to we'll talk this out, but it's Ashley's always worked on Sunday. But I've always made it a priority, not just Delilah, I'm watching Delilah. It's more of I've taken it upon myself every Sunday that we do something that's fun.
You've taken advantage of the opportunity of the fact that you have Delilah on your own on Sundays. And rather than just say, here's your iPad, sit in the corner and I'm going to watch PJ golf all day, which actually doesn't sound like a bad idea. But, you're taking advantage of it, like taking her to the zoo or taking her to the beach or taking her golfing or whatever.
Doing something fun something new. So it's almost kind of when I go, you ready for Daddy? It's Sunday, she gets excited. So the question is it's not going to be a agree or disagree. It's more, do you have one-on-one time with your son that is set up once a week? And if so, have you found it beneficial?
So I don't have a one-on-one time with my son. I think about it a lot and it's something I wish I did have and I would kind of put into my schedule. So I'm happy we're talking about this because, I think a lot of parents are probably going to fall into my category, which is they really want to do it, but they, for some reason, find excuses why they don't. And the reality is how your parents always said that saying, life happens so fast. It's freaking true, dude. When you have a kid, it just goes. So I really, I do spend a lot of time with him. There's a farm down the street where we go and we pick vegetables and see the cows and stuff and the horses. And we do, I haven't yet taken golfing except in Hawaii. I took him golfing. He just slept the whole time because he was 1.
But why do you say though that there's, you come up with excuses to not do it?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I kind of look at it okay, well, during the week, it's kind of hard for me to do it. And then when my wife kind of on Saturdays and Sundays, we both don't work on the weekends. So, I work a little bit. She probably has, honestly, she does have probably one weekend day or at least a set block of hours on the weekend where she spends time with Johnson one-on-one, but I don't. And I wish I did. And I would like to just hear I think what's really important here to talk about is for you, obviously, we all follow you on Instagram. Of course we're friends, but we all follow you on Instagram here. And we see that you have those dad and daughter days and they look like a lot of fun. So I'd really love to just hear give some inspiration to the community of what are the things that you do with your daughter? Because,
a lot. Start with this.
I think a lot of dads have trouble finding ideas to do with their daughter that they can both enjoy, right?
100%. But I think the first thing is why I do it.
Okay.
Is because it answers your question is when you have kids, they grow up so quick.
Yep.
And I just saw a picture of Delilah, when those memories come up in your story, it's 2 years ago today. And I just looked at how little she was because she's literally turning 3 on Friday. And I was just I'm so grateful. I'm so present with her. And time goes so quick that one, it's instilling this relationship and this bond, especially with a girl, I think is so important as a male to be in her life because I'm setting the example of what she's going to be having around her as she grows older. But selfishly, it's because, I love, and again, for all parents, I mean, I love my daughter so much that it's like, I look forward to it. There's probably my date night with Ashley, which happens tonight, which is Tuesdays, and then Sundays are like my two favorite days of the week. Like for me, out of all the things in life, whether it be friends, whether it be out golfing, surfing, which are all very important factors to me, my wife, God, my wife and my daughter time take over are the number one priorities. And it's like, there's no greater joy. And I mean, that's for me. And trust me, there's times that are frustrating and super, like, I mean, there's days that I have this whole thing planned and it's like, she's a nightmare. And it's like, I'm never doing this again.
What are some of the stuff that you guys do?
So, I mean, anything from, and it's obviously changed a little bit with COVID and stuff, but I mean, even if it's just going down to the park, going to the pool, going to the beach, we have this little place called Zoomers down here, which is a little farm where you can feed the animals, you can pick them up, pet them, going to the zoo, going outside and throwing tennis balls to Louie, I mean, it can be anything, riding our scooters, riding a skateboard, having her hit the heavy bag with me. It's like these little things that we do. It's more so, it's not so much of what the activity is specifically. It's interpreting, and something that we should debate next week is doing things, because like there's stuff that I wish Delilah did that she doesn't, and do you enforce that, or like do you want, like, because I wish she would do more things that she doesn't do, but it's also there's things that we've met in the middle on that she does. Like one thing, she's like, I swear to God, she's gonna be an architect. We bought Magnetiles, and it's like the new version of Lincoln Logs. Oh. And we went from having one set to two sets. I mean, we have probably 10 sets of them.
I'm not going to be an architect if we're going off of the Magnetile scale here, because we bought them. We're all excited because they were the hot toy, and he just throws them all around the room. So they're like ninja stars for him.
Well, but I think that my takeaway for anybody is taking and finding a middle ground, because there's things that both Delilah and I love doing. And it's like, dude, I mean, we sat downstairs when we got back from the beach on Sunday. And, after an exhausting day, I mean, we spent another hour, building towers and knocking them over. And like, I mean, it's finding those things, but you have to experience, even for you, try new things. I mean, there's a lot of
what I'm really taking from you, Jason, is like, I think I put a lot of pressure on myself maybe to do these like really outlandish things. Like we can't just like go to the park. We got to go buy a rocket set, put it together, go to the park, launch a rocket, like learn about the star, like, and I think like this is actually a really important episode, because the key is dad and daughter time, or dad and son time. And it's not about what you do. It's the fact that you're just spending present, like you said, present moments with your son or your daughter, and you find things to do. And it kind of, now that we're talking about it, it takes a little bit of the pressure off and makes it feel like more obtainable. Like, oh, can you fit 4 hours of your Sunday or Saturday into a one-on-one time with Bronson? If I can't, then what's wrong? Like, that's not okay. I should be able to. Again, if you're a parent that works on the weekends, maybe it's on Tuesday, maybe it's on Wednesday. But
start with this an hour. Or 2 hours where it's dedicated to doing something specifically for them. I mean, now we just did 10 hours on Sunday. So, and to your point, is a big takeaway is when this first started, you're absolutely right. I'm like, oh my God, we're gonna go to Disneyland, and then we're gonna go, take her to dress up like a princess. Like,
yeah,
dude, sometimes incorporate that, but it's just that time and the connection with one another. And the best part about it is a lot of us as adults, we've stopped doing things that we love, or we haven't tried new things. And it's your opportunity to live life and see life from a child's perspective again. And it can really change your mentality and your thought process.
I love that, Jason. This is a good one. Sometimes on the show, we're not just going to have like yes or no questions. We're really trying to open it up a little bit as we kind of go through this journey of making the show, that some things just need to be talked about, because, they're like me, like I should do it more, but I think I put a lot of pressure on myself. I do spend, now keep in mind, so I'm going to make it a question. I'm going to ask the audience and ourselves, do you do parent, child one-on-one time at least once a week? My answer would be at least once a week. No, I don't. I know that your answer is yes. So I ask you out there, do you do that? But just so everyone knows, I do spend time with my son a lot. It's generally with my wife. But as we talk about this, Jason, I realize how important it is, because I have a different relationship with my dad than I do my mom, not because just because you develop separate relationships within this whole family dynamic. So props to you, bud.
But hey, everybody, comment below. Let us know. I mean, if there's insight to, give Talan, me perspective that you guys are going through benefits, let's hear it. We want to know what you guys are doing. And if there's activities that you think are amazing that, kind of out of the wheelhouse, let us know. And, but again, as I think it's important that we talk about these things. And to close, I want to talk about, even going into next week, I want to talk about, there's going to be debates all the time, don't get me wrong, but I also think it's what we're going through personally, because people are going to be able to relate to that too. So I think it's a big part of what I want to make this show about is we are going to debate, don't get me wrong, but we're also going to talk about our own struggles that we're going through.
Yep. So just make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in.
Peace.